Obviously, we're disappointed in our play tonight. We couldn't really buy a basket. I'm not sure why it was so difficult for us to find the rim, and they seemed like they couldn't miss. Everything they threw up pretty much went in. We tried different defenses on them, trapping the ball, but when you got a post player that can shoot threes, it makes it very difficult. And their guards are pretty good at handling the ball, creating off the dribble, and that zone kind of. I mean, we've had zones played against us before, but for some reason we just couldn't find a hole to get it close enough to the basket, and we settled for too many threes. I mean, the beginning of the game, if we played like we did at the end against their zone, we would have had maybe a different outcome. So they out rebounded us as well. So that was not something that we should have done a better job on the boards.
Yeah, Coach, speaking of the zone on your end, it looked like in the first quarter you guys were running the 2-3 zone and it was pretty effective. And then the second quarter it looked like you switched out of that and they consequently.
Well, they hit a couple of shots. They hit a couple of deep threes. And, you know, anytime you score, they score in your whatever defense you're in a couple of times, you have to switch it up and do something different. Otherwise, they just keep doing what they're doing. But they hit from all over the place. It really didn't matter what we were in. It seemed like they were still hitting shots. We tried to pick them up. We got some steals, but it wasn't quite enough.
Shatrice White with 20 in the first half. She matched what your team had. That's her best, at least her best half, if not her best game.
I mean, obviously she's done a lot more damage, but on 16 shots, her getting 28 points. Obviously, we held her in the second half, but then others did some damage. You know, Whittinger came in and did some damage. We had to go small, but they took advantage of our lack of size on the inside because, if you got to have a big on her, on White. That leaves, if you go 4 guards, that leaves a smaller guard on Whittinger.
I know it's empty on a 20-point loss, but Dakota is 10 points over her career high tonight. It seemed like she was the one trying to get you back in the game all night.
Yeah, I mean, she was. Others were too. It just couldn't find the basket. I mean, the ball is just careening in and coming out. It's one of those nights where you just can't find a basket other than what she did, which was she found it. But Nicole struggled. She didn't have a particularly good game today. She had some nice looks, just didn't make them. But we need some other people being able to create off the dribble. And that's kind of been our Achilles heel this whole year. And maybe not getting the big three to play the same time. We needed Mick to make some baskets. And she struggled. So you can't have one of your big three, 2 of them struggling and one person kind of carrying the whole load. And then really the bench is really down with some of the production that we need from them as well.
All right, Coach, you switched to the press in the second half. How do you think that fared?
And at times it looked good, and at times we let people get behind us. And so we have to make sure that we realize you're picking up full court, but if your girl's back there, you got to go back there too. And we had some people just kind of in space and not really matched up the way they were supposed to. But we don't press that much, so it's not going to look the prettiest. We don't have the depth to press. We just had to do something different tonight to kind of slow them down. I think it slowed them down a little bit, but it was maybe too little too late. That second quarter really put us in a big hole because at the end, I mean, we win the fourth and we're pretty even in the third, but you can't go 25-7. I mean, you can't have that.
Dakota, how difficult is it for you on the court tonight when, your teammates are having an off night, but, you kind of have to carry the load? How difficult is it to kind of put the team on your back?
It's definitely not as bad as I thought. I mean, I've been there before where I couldn't find the basket and, Nicole or Mick would step up. So definitely trying to take the load and trying to do for my teammates what they couldn't do, and they couldn't find the basket. So I just tried to take it upon myself to help at least. But I've definitely been there, so it was just good that I can actually hit my shots tonight.
Yeah. Is there a frustration level to have this game at this point in the season?
It is. I mean, you try to keep a smile on your face and keep positive. It's really difficult because you really can't, you don't know the answer. Everybody's searching. Tonight was particularly difficult because our shots weren't falling. It wasn't that we weren't getting looks. They just weren't going in. I mean, I don't know. It is frustrating. But we try not to show it. We try to remain very classy and professional. because when it's going our way, we don't pout and complain. You're happy and you try to make the most of it. So when it's not, and we're trying to teach these young people when things don't go your way, and they haven't gone our way this year, you see that they're still fighting and trying to play good basketball. But it was just one of those games where they were hitting everything, and we could not find the bucket tonight, other than Dakota.
Dakota, the big number obviously for you tonight was the 31 points, but you also only had 1 turnover, even though you were kind of playing with some speed sometimes. Can you speak to that? What allowed that number to stay so low?
I actually didn't realize that at all, but I just think that I feel like when the ball's in your hands a lot, you don't have a reason to throw it away, and the ball was in my hands a lot today, and I was making shots, but that's definitely just I don't even know what to say. It's just something that's new for me, but taking care of the ball is something that Coach Bobby has been emphasizing in practice, so I definitely always keep that in the back of my mind.
And when they play a zone, they're not matched up, so sometimes it's no reason to turn over against the zone unless you're just trying to force it. But we had some other people turn it over, just some of the outlets, and it's like, just relax, just calm down. So we'll look at it. I mean, they're trying to make stuff happen, and you can't blame them, but sometimes you just got to calm down a little bit and at least get the ball down the floor and get a good shot.
Nicole's been a little bit of a slump the last couple games. Can you speak to that at all as to why she's been shooting so poorly?
You know what? I don't know. She's in the gym. I mean, she's in there. She stays after practice. It's just one of those spells where, she hadn't had many in her career of slumps. I don't know if, I can't remember her having this many. But when a lot of pressure's on her because they do chase her around. She's not just open. And when Dakota has a game like this, that's what I'm saying. You got to have more than one person. Another guard has got to step up so that then they have to guard someone else. There's been games where she struggled. Tessa struggled, Kayla struggled, and Nicole's really the only one other than Mick, but Mick's a post player. You got to have at least 2 guards that they have to guard. And they can only, like tonight, we couldn't help off of, maybe one person, and she hit a 3, and, So, again, when you can shoot and handle the ball and drive, it makes it hard on the defense. And it looked like no matter what we did, they could score.